You are now listening to Limited Trust, a Devastator podcast. Let's get into it.
Episode 6, Limited Trust, a Devastator podcast. I just wanted to say that thank you, and that I appreciate everyone who's still checking in and listening. I had actually just recorded an entire episode. It was like 30 minutes. And when I got done with it, I just erased it because I don't know if I'm ready to tell that story yet. And some people know the story, some people don't, but it's a fucked up story. But we'll tell another story today. And I know a lot of people have always been curious about the Bluetop story. And you might be asking yourself, what is a Bluetop? Well, if you don't know that, then I could tell that you're not from this niche of people. But if you don't know, in graffiti, the sticker culture, and just graffiti in general, priority mail labels were used to throw up tags and shit here and there. I want to say it was heavy. I guess sticker culture kind of goes through ups and downs of popularity, from what I've seen. And Bluetops would be the priority labels that have the blue top to them. It's like a blue bar that goes across. But really, typically, a blue top kind of falls in the category of anything 2006 and earlier, back to 91. If someone says you got blue tops, they want something from that date range. And I made myself probably the largest distributor. No, not probably. I was the largest distributor on the planet of these specific labels. And how I amassed this 160,000 of them is kind of a fun story in itself. So I guess I'll take you back to the beginning of when I started fucking around with stickers and shit. And it was a more... it was a easy introduction to graffiti was stickers. Those are probably the first things I saw that I really got to take a good look at. And I was like, wow, man, you could do all this cool shit. You could take your time on them. And stickers are kind of like a gray area in graffiti. Like, some people say if that's all you do, then you're not really about that shit. And then other people, that is all they do, and they're fucking up like crazy. But it's kind of a gray area. But I remember hearing people talking about these blue tops and trading them, and it was like this. And I'm like, well, hey, I got priority mail labels. Look, I got these 08s, I got these 13s, and they're like, nah, you don't understand. Like these 06s. With these blue tops and these 04s and, all this, they're like, oh, these are better. They're cool. They're old school, whatever. And I'm like, oh, how can I get some of those? So I bought some off of this dude. I don't know. I think I bought like 50 of them or something for like $20 or whatever it was. I can't even remember. And I remember getting them, and I was like, they do kind of have like this cool aesthetic to them. But then I remember feeling like, all right, I got 50 of them. Oh, I used one. Now I got 49. Fuck. What am I going to do? I just bought these. I can't like waste them. Everything's got to be perfect. And I was like obsessing over these few that I had because I didn't want to ruin them because I paid for them, and I got these other ones that were just free and I should be using them. And then I thought, well, how could I get these? So I did like probably everyone does, go to their local post office and check, see if they got them, and mine didn't. And then I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll go to the one the next, the one that I pass by every day on the way to work. I passed several, but no, they didn't have them. So right then I kind of knew, like, this isn't just going to be walk in and grab some from somewhere. So I started thinking, well, where do you normally find old items? Well, you'd probably find old items of anything, like in a small store or a small shop or a shop in the middle of nowhere. And I've heard people talking about these Bluetops, saying they found them in some post office in the country in the middle of nowhere. And how do I find ones that are in the middle of nowhere? Well, I got in a car and we just drove, right? Erica and I drove. I can't tell you how many post offices I've been to in person for hundreds of miles. And I was actually... Oh, hold on. I got that itch underneath this fucking headphone. I drove hundreds of miles, literally hundreds of miles, to find these. And I would find them. Every so often, I would find a couple. I'd find some here. And we're just Googling the next location, next post office. We're just going. I'm at all these offices. So after doing that a few times, I was like, there's got to be a better way. How do I do this? I concocted a story that I could ask for because, no one's just going to be like, oh, let me go look because you like the way these look and whatever the fuck. So I created a story that I would tell people. And by the end of our road trips, I had the story down pretty good. And I could just say it. And so I Googled the smallest populations and the smallest post offices in the country, and I got a list of all these, and I just started calling them with that same story that I had used in the offices. And the first few were like, I don't know what you're talking about, whatever, kind of weird. All of those were a total bust, right? I go, fuck. And they were like obscure, like strange shit you would see in like Ripley's Believe It or Not, post office for 3 fucking people or something like that, a 3-person town. So I ended up just writing down all the post offices in New York State, or as many as I could get numbers for. And I just started at the top and started calling them down the line, asking them, I'm looking for these labels for this specific reason, and this is why I need them. And I'm not going to tell you why, but I had a story that said I needed them for a specific reason, until somebody was like, yeah, okay, I got a whole case of them. I'm like, holy shit, a whole case of them, huh? And I don't know really anything about these labels at the time. I just know that I wanted them and that other people wanted them too. So a couple days later, this case of I think it was 06 squares showed up. I go, wow, this is awesome. And I think a case has a 4, 8. I think it's got 12 or 16. I think it had 16 bricks in it. I think there were 4, 8, 12, 16. I think there were 4 rows of 4, if I remember correctly. I got a box in the room that I didn't get rid of the box, but it says how many are in there. It was something. I think it was 4 rows of 4, or was it 12? Whatever the fuck. Anyway, so I go, wow. And it felt like it was easy at the time, but really I did all this fucking work, all these phone calls, all this dicking around. So it really wasn't easy. But once that first one came, I was like, all right, I could do this again. Just do it again and again and again and again. So I went back to the old, the Google reverse searched populations, and then kind of got not the weird fucking 2-person township, but like small populations, 500 people, 1,000 people. And a town in Wyoming was one of the first ones I came up with. So I called them first, and I started telling the story, my normal story. And the lady says, I have these right here. They're 2004. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the one. She's like, I got a nice handful of them. She's like, I'll send them to you. And I said, okay. So she sends them to me. And I don't know why, but I was like, let me call back and see if there's any more, right? So I called back, and the lady goes, oh, I don't have any more. She goes, well, how about I send an email to my local offices and see if they have any? And I'm like, oh yeah, that'd be great, And I gave her my email. She emailed me, yep, they emailed me back. All these offices had them. I'll have them send them directly to you. And I go, oh, that would be awesome, right? So probably 2 days later, I get some random envelopes in a case, and I'm like, holy shit. So now I got quite a few, right? And I go, all right. So I called her back again. I said, it was a really awesome turnout. I appreciate what you did. I was like, is there any way you can widen your email? She goes, well, the last thing I can do is I can send them to the entire state of Wyoming. And I was like, yes, can you do that for me? Because this worked. It was a big help. She goes, yes, I'll do that for you. So it was about 2 or 3 days later. It was always about 2 or 3 days. Priority mail was how they would send them, which is cool. Then I got a bunch. At the time, I got 97s. I got and I'm some of these I'm seeing for the first time, and there's tons of them. There's hundreds, if not thousands, coming in at a time. So I called her back, and I said, "Hey, is there any way? Does your reach go out any further? Because this worked again, and I want to know if I can get more." She said, my reach doesn't go out any further. I'm going to give you a phone number. You can't tell the lady where you got this phone number from, but I'm going to give you this phone number. And you call this number, and she's the regional lady. And I was like, oh, okay. So she gives me this phone number. I call this regional lady. I say, the postmaster in Wyoming gave me this phone number and said that you would be able to help me. So I explained it to her. Told her the whole story. I said, I've already kind of done business with you guys. I've already gotten a bunch, and I'm just kind of looking to see how I could get more. She goes, yeah, I can help you. I remember her name and everything. I'm not going to tell you because you guys are fucking weirdos. He's trying to get hold of this lady. So she says, I'm in charge, I'm in control of this state, this state, this state, this state, whatever her district was, all these states. And I'm like, oh shit. And she was. And she fucking hooked it up, man. Next thing you know, I'm getting cases upon cases, all these different types. I'm getting from all over the place. So I call her back, new lady. That worked great. Does your reach go out any further? She says, my reach doesn't go out any further, but I can give you the numbers to every person that has a district, and you can call them. I said, fucking A. So to the East Coast I went. That lady. Told her the story. Told her the last lady sent me, which already sounded good. Oh, yeah, for sure. She sends out this email. I called down south. There was a dude. He was kind of funny at first. He sends out this email. Every time they send out these emails, eventually I got the big postal truck pulling in, taking off fucking hand trucks full of boxes of Bluetops from all, I think I got 18 cases of O2Cs, which I think there's 1,600 in a case, all connected. And that's when I learned that there's different types. So now I'm like, this is just happening every day. There's my regular mail carrier dropping off shit. There's the big truck coming dropping off shit. And I got like 4 phone numbers left. So I called California. And the California lady was weird. She sounded like everyone else was just like, oh yeah, sure, yeah. Oh, you're working with so-and-so? Yeah. She sounded like she wasn't really on board with my story, right? But she kind of went along with it. And because I had it now at this point, I got this fucking story down. It is down. I got the answers to all the questions. I got the fake business made, the paperwork for it, the fake letterhead. I got all the fake everything. I fucking forged all this shit to seem like I have this breed tool and supply company, a company on fucking J Street that I stole the fucking identity of to front as this company. But she wasn't on board. And she said, yep, I sent the email out. And I was like, okay. And then 2 or 3 days, Nothing. 4 days, nothing. 5 days. I called back. I said, you sent the email? She goes, yeah, I did. Let me send it again. And I'm like, it's kind of weird. Waited another 2-3 days, nothing. So I called the guy back from the south. He was in Texas, but I think he was had like Texas to Florida and up to one of the Carolinas, I think, and over or something like that. And he was different on the phone too. I was like, hey, did you, is there any way, you could try to check and send another email? And he's like, yeah, you got them all. You got everything. And I'm like, why is everyone fucking acting like this? So I called back California one more time, and she didn't answer. And they always answered. Like every time I called one of these numbers, somebody picked up the phone. Didn't even answer. I'm like, that's fucking weird, man. And this whole time, so now at this point, actively, I have, at the highest that I counted was over, because it was like 160,000 and change. I don't remember if it was 161,425 or whatever, but I had 100, that's an amazing amount of fucking paper. That is a lot of fucking stickers. That is a lot of labels, and they're all different kinds. I have everything at this point, and I turned into like the man. I was like a drug dealer. I was like the fucking drug dealer for Bluetops. So if you have Bluetops, if your boys got Bluetops, if you see a dude that's got a bunch of fucking different models and shit still to this day, if you see that going on, there's the high likelihood that those came from me. Like your biggest, your boys, your legends, all of them, you see them on, there's a good chance that those came from me, that those were in my fucking house and they came out of here. And so I kind of built this reputation, and as I'm calling these post offices and doing all this fucking around at the post office, I learned so much about these labels and so much about the different models and so much of why they change certain things on the models. So now I'm like a fucking 228 scholar. I know, okay, they changed this model because, like, for instance, they have the 95s. There's 95 first edition, 95 second edition. The 95 first edition, the to and from had like these strange little boxes indicating where you should write into them, but they put them both in the middle of the label. So I could see how that would be a problem, because you're writing the to and the from on top of one another, and I could see how that would be confusing. Someone write the wrong shit in the wrong space. So like 2 months after that label came out, they called for all of them to be destroyed, which they didn't get destroyed, and I'll explain that in a while too. But and then they reprinted the 95 second edition, where the from, the return, is off to the left as it should be, and the to is in the middle. So the first 95 first edition, there wasn't that many of them made. They were only produced for a while, for a month or two, and then what I've learned is when the U.S. Postal Service releases a new anything, any document, a sticker, a form, they tell their people to get rid of all the rest of them. So when they come out with this, for example, when they came out with the 16s, which is the current model, you're supposed to get rid of all your 13s or whatever you have. So there's a ton of Bluetops and 08s and 13s at this point that have been thrown away, recycled, gotten rid of because of protocol, and everything, boxes, all that shit. It's all supposed to go, which kind of adds to the rarity of these things. And so at this point, I have more labels than I know what to do with. I feel like I'll never run out. Like I'm selling them left and right, packs, all kinds of shit. I'm meeting all the people that I never had access to before. All these big names, massive damagers. All these people are trusting me with their personal information, and I'm just like this dude. But everyone's getting their stuff. They're paying for it and they're getting it, and I'm the guy to go talk to when you want Bluetops. One day I look at my email. I'm at a job. I'm doing a residential carpet job. I get an email. It's the first lady. And I go, oh shit, she sent me an email. Maybe she's got something for me, you know? It's not California. It's not the South one. It's not the Northeast. And the email says, Kyle, I've been made aware of your multiple eBay listings. Dude, I was like, what the fuck? Okay. And the postal inspector, like, they were opening like a federal fucking case against me for selling these labels. I was shook. I'm not going to lie to you. I had my legal trouble in the past, and I'm like, I'm fucked. Now I got a federal case. I don't really have a federal case, but that's what I'm thinking. Now that fucking some guy is going to come here and fucking arrest me for... I've come to find out that wasn't really, like... There's a lot of gray area when it comes to that. And I think what it boiled down to was that she was upset that I fucking was lying. That I called and talked to all these people for all this time and told this story. And it was total bullshit. And I think they were just upset that they did all this legwork. You know, they got a hold of their people searched their offices, they put them in boxes, they shipped them, their company shipped them directly to my door and unloaded them on a 2-wheel cart right to my door, you know, for nothing, and I'm selling them. And I think they were real upset about that. And she said, you know, this, just so you know that you haven't heard the fucking from the last of me, or you haven't heard the last of me, or whatever the fuck the saying is. And I'm like, fuck. So right then I shut down all my listings on eBay, and I kind of like fell back, and I started moving labels over to my mother's house, because I'm thinking I'm about to get like raided by the FBI or the fucking Secret Service or some shit. And so I kind of stopped doing that. But then the need, the rush took over again. And I'm like, let me start calling around again. So I start calling around again. And I actually did another road trip where I got more little bits though. So I'm like, what I'm used to is all these fucking labels. And what I'm getting now is just like, you know, a brick. I'm like, fucking brick. Get out of here. What the fuck I'm going to do with this? I spent $10 in fuel to get here, you know, or 20 or 30 or whatever. And so that's nothing ever really ended up happening. But what I was made aware of is that there was a fucking nationwide email sent to every office in the fucking country, every office in the U.S. Postal Service, that said, do not, under any circumstances, fulfill any of these label requests for these old labels. They shut that shit the fuck down. And I think it was different for me going in person and asking, because the phone thing never worked again. They're like, nope. And they're just not having it anymore. And I think they're on to that whole fucking thing. And another funny story was, there was a dude that I had trouble getting O2s, right? And O2s still had the Bluetop. They have no watermark, so they got the biggest open space of Bluetops. So they're still like really sought after. Not the O2Cs, white line, red line, any of that. I learned the difference between all those. I spotted these differences. And all the lingo, like if anyone ever says you're talking blue top shit and they're like, oh, the blue eagle, the white eagle, the fucking round edge, you know, O2 rounds, O2 this, O2 that, fucking red line, this line, first edition, all that terminology fucking was created by me to be able to explain to people what I had for sale. So I created all these terms that are still in use today. And so this dude, I don't know how the fuck he was getting them, right? He's getting these fucking O2s. He's got lots of them. He showed pictures of bricks. And I'm like, fuck, man. I was like, I gotta get these fucking bricks. And I would like talk to him, and he was a total dick, right? He was a fucking asshole to me. And now at this point, I got like a name for myself. Like, I'm known as this dude. I'm like, yo, I'll trade you these 91s, these 91Cs. I'll trade you these. You know, these are like the first ones. These are the genesis of this shit. He wasn't having it. So I was like, you know what, motherfucker? He's like, my local office. He's like, I just go in, ask for bricks. They just give them to me. And I believed him. And he wasn't lying. And how I found out that he wasn't lying is I figured out where his fucking district was. I fucking figured it out, and I called every single one of them until I found the fucking office that had cases of O2s. And then I got them. And then I asked him 6 months later, hey man, you still get those O2s? Nah, man, they dried up. I see you got some, though. Yup. And that was just petty. That was just me being a fucking asshole because he wouldn't deal with me. But I kind of had a big head, too, because I expected him to deal with me. So, yeah. That's the Bluetop story. Damn, we were fucking 26 and a half minutes in this motherfucker. And, yeah. And I kind of don't really have a whole lot of interest in that anymore. You know? Stickers come, stickers go. They get popular. They don't. And, I feel like I had fun with it. And, chasing that dragon is over with for me. So, get out there, drive around, see what you can find. Make sure your story is good. Because I'm sure there's somebody that remembers that fucking email that said anyone asking about these labels is fucking up to no good. Shout out to Super Dick. He's the fucking goat. The goat, the greatest of, he's the Gog, the greatest of all goats. And who else do we got? Who have I been breaking fucking balls with? Yeah, shout out to all my guys from Germany. You guys are great. I fuck with you. Shout out to everybody, man. This has been fun. Don't go getting yourself a federal fucking case over these Bluetops. It's not worth it anymore, man. There's so many people that'll just print you fucking replicas that you can just have, you know. And I guess culminating the whole story, I sold all of them. I sold 160,000. I have none left. What a great fucking story, huh? Yeah, I thought they would never run out, and they did. And now, them 91Cs, I see them motherfuckers selling for $100 a piece. Boy, I got what'd I get? I think it was, I still have a picture of the shit. I got like fucking 1,100 or 1,300 91Cs all connected, and 94Cs. I think I had like 800 or 900 of them, and I got them all from the same office and out of Bradford, Pennsylvania, and they were fucking mint, and I sold those for $10 a piece for a long ass time, and now they're selling for fucking $100 a piece, and most likely they started at my house. So if you see anyone with a long ass connected string of 91Cs, they came from me. Don't let them tell you otherwise. All right. Hope you enjoyed the fucking Bluetop story. And that's it. And I think I should be in the motherfucking Label 228 project, the new book that's coming out. I think I should have a fucking feature in that because I was that dude. Ask your friends. Azul Escobar, Kyle Conway, the Bluetop, Tupac. I'm out of here.